The Masters in Happiness Studies is a program that lasts for a period of 20 months. During those 20 months, you will earn 30 credits. You will study for more than 1,000 hours. Over that period of time, you will get a lot of material. And the thing is that it's 100% online. So wherever you are, whatever time zone you're in, you can take this program. Now, when we created this program, when we were in touch with Centenary University, and it's a joint venture between Centenary University and the Happiness Studies Academy, we were debating whether to have this as a on-campus master's degree or 100% online, or some hybrid where some of it is online and some of it is on campus in person. And we opted for 100% online for one main reason and a few derivative reasons. The main reason is accessibility. It's more accessible to more people. You know, we have students from Vietnam, China, US, Brazil, and, everywhere in between. And many of these students, especially those far away, would not have been able to attend, whether it's because they're working full-time or for financial reasons, wouldn't have been able to physically attend Centenary University in New Jersey. However, the fact that it's 100% online makes it accessible, and it doesn't matter what time zone you're in, it doesn't matter how far you are, you can be part of it. At the same time, we're very conscious, very aware of the price that we pay for making it online, because, there is no substitute for being in the same room, playing in the same sandbox, sitting around the same table, or being in the same lecture hall even, and then meeting for office hours in person, face-to-face. No substitute for that. So what we have done in order to not lose the benefits of in-person degree is that we have retreats. Now, these retreats do take place all over the world. So we had a retreat in Mexico. We're having a retreat in Italy. We had in the United States. Soon we'll have in China. We have these 3-day retreats. In addition, we also have meetings where we meet. So each time where I travel, just about wherever I travel, and I travel a lot, I meet with students, and we have coffee together. For 2-3 hours. Usually goes for 4 hours. We have maybe a light dinner together where we just chat and talk, and it's an opportunity for me to meet the students, for the students to meet among themselves. And then very often relationships are created through that. So, I was recently in Toronto, and those who came to that meeting from Toronto and the adjoining cities created their own mini club where they meet and they get together regularly. I was recently in France. They're doing the same thing. So having these face-to-face interactions and meetings, which are not mandatory, so you can get the degree and just stay online from here to eternity. But if you're interested, there will be a face-to-face in-person meeting at a theater near you, so to speak. You will be able to meet with fellow journeyers, people who are on the same path as you during those retreats. Because one of the most important things about the Happiness Studies Academy in our relationship with Centenary University is that it's a community. And this is what we're creating now. So this is the social aspect of it, where we have, it's accessible, it's online, and if you want, you'll also have face-to-face interactions. Again, not an official part of the degree, but certainly something that you'll be able to enjoy during your 20 months and for as long as you want, because it's for students and alums and for graduates. Now, what's also important to understand is that the degree is accredited by the highest authority. So there are various reasons why the Happiness Studies Academy decided to join with Centenary University. I must tell you, the first reason is emotional. I walked into Centenary University and I fell in love. I fell in love with the university. I fell in love with the people. It just felt right. And it's also accredited by Middle States Commission on Higher Education, which is a regional accreditor, which means it's the highest accreditation available in the US. So university, it's the same accreditation that Princeton University has and the University of Pennsylvania. And it's the same level of accreditation that all the top universities in the US have, which is, of course, very important for us, which means it's an accepted and approved degree, obviously in the US and everywhere else in the world. Let me say a few more words about the Masters in Happiness Studies content. So when it comes to the content, there are 8 courses that make up the degree. The first course is the Foundations of Happiness Studies, and that's about, first of all, introducing you to the field, a little bit about the history of happiness, introducing you to the main ideas of what constitutes a happy life. What's happiness studies? How is it different from positive psychology? What are you going to do over the next 20 months? So it's literally creating the foundations upon which we build the rest of the degree. And then there is Introduction to Happiness Studies. Here we go into the actual material. We go into the SPIRE model of happiness. SPIRE stands for spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional. Spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional. These are the 5 elements that make up happiness. And we delve quite deeply into each of them, looking at what we can do to increase spiritual well-being, what we can do to increase physical well-being, or intellectual, or relational, or emotional well-being, looking at tools and techniques. And also really understanding the basic structure of the field. How do you apply these ideas to your workplace? How do you apply them to your home, personal lives? How do you apply them in schools? How about society? How do you use happiness studies when dealing with tragedy, whether we're talking about global tragedy or whether we're talking about personal hardships and difficulties? And then we talk about leaders. The best way to learn about a topic is through exemplars, through role models. Yeah, I can read research about kindness, and you will read research about kindness. But the best way to learn about kindness is probably from really, really understanding your grandmother or mother or whomever in your family was really, really kind, an exemplar of kindness. And if you have the research, the theory, coupled with a role model, that's a very powerful combination for bringing about change. So when we talk about integrative leaders on happiness, we talk about leaders in the field of economics. Just today in class, we talked about Anita Roddick, who's created The Body Shop, a leader in business, and how she changed the face of leadership and the face of business in general, and how she embodies so many of the SPIRE elements. So in a way, if the SPIRE is the skeleton, we get the meat through studying real people, again, who exemplify, who are role models. Then we have a course on facilitating happiness, and that is all about practice. It's about taking the ideas from those leaders. It's about taking ideas from the Introduction to Happiness Studies and asking, what are the tools and techniques that we can use to bring about more happiness or more resilience in ourselves, in our families, in our organizations, in society at large. So this has, of course, theory in it, but it's very much about practice. The next course is about philosophy and happiness. You know, this goes to an important difference between positive psychology and happiness studies. Positive psychology is the psychology of happiness. Happiness studies looks at happiness through very different lenses. For example, through philosophical lens, because philosophers like Aristotle and like Lao Tzu and like Helen Keller had a great deal to say about what a happy life is. And it would be a shame to discard them or ignore them just because they weren't psychologists. And by the way, the same applies to movies and literature. Movies and literature can teach us a great deal about happiness, and we learn from those too. And then there is a course which we call the Spire Retreat. I must say, don't tell anyone, but it's my favorite course. Why? Because this is where you take the material and apply it to your life. This is where you take everything that you learn in facilitating happiness, or from Lao Tzu, or from Anita Roddick, or from the Spire model, or from any of the teachers that we have throughout our time together, and you apply it to your life. Why do we emphasize applying it to your life? Why do you run a retreat for yourself? And by the way, the retreat is not in person in Centenary. You run the retreat based, of course, on the material. You run it for yourself wherever and whenever you are. And then you act based on what you decided to include in the retreat, and you reflect, you write about it. And you act some more, and you reflect some more, and you grow through that. And the reason why it's so important for us is because if you want to be a teacher, a leader, in whatever capacity, whether you're a coach or a therapist or a school teacher or a manager or a parent or a medical doctor. And again, we have students who are, who fall into one of those categories, all of those categories. If you want to bring about change in others, you first need to understand it deeply yourself. So here, basically, you're your own guinea pig as you embark on this Spire retreat. And you bring about change in your life over the entire semester. And then there is a course on coaching, where what you have learned from applying it to your life, you apply it to other people. And with your fellow students, your fellow journeyers, you coach one another and you continue your growth experience because you're coached as well. And you learn how to help others grow as well, become happier as well. So again, very practical, of course, with a deep theoretical, empirical, meaning research-based foundation. And the final course is happiness in literature and film. Again, we learn a lot through stories, whether it's stories of real leaders or stories of protagonists from literature, from film, from poetry, that can really help us deeply understand ourselves and the world, deeply understand what it takes to be happy, or what it takes to alleviate suffering or transform suffering. So these are the 8 courses, the structure of the Masters in Happiness Studies. And what I want to do now is turn it over to you. And just before I do, on this call, we have Dawn Homer, who is the senior enrollment counselor at Centenary University. Just between you and me, she basically runs the show. And she is amazing, wonderful, one of the, if not the reason I fell in love with Centenary University. And she's here on the call. Some of you, I'm sure, have already spoken with her. And Dawn will be able to share with us and help us with any question that we have about the process and much more. Dawn, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for attending. So ask away. I'm ready.
Great. Thank you. And in addition, we have Arlene Solotkin, who is a professor in the current master's degree cohort, which started in October. And we also have Ashley Michael, who is also a professor in the master's in happiness studies. So the four of us are happy to answer any question that you have or help in any way. The way to ask questions is you go below to reactions and you click on raise hand, and then we'll call on you. At the same time, we'll also be monitoring the chat. If you have any questions there, we're also, of course, happy to answer those. So ask away. The floor is yours. Yes, Anna, if you can unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, hi, good evening. I'm in Germany. And I just wanted to find out concerning the fees. What is the fee, the cost, and how is the fee, how are the fees structured? Is it per semester or how? So what are the structures for the fees?
Dawn, do you want to take that? Or
I wasn't sure if I thought you were going to take it, but that's fine. Absolutely.
Yes.
Basically, the degree is, yes, you answered your question. It goes by semesters. So once you enroll for your course, you register, that then creates a bill. And then that's when you would make your payment. So the way it's structured now is the first course is your 8-week course. So once you register for that first course, that's only a 2-credit course, then you're expected a payment. Then the next 2 classes would come, and then the same thing. So it does go by terms. It's not the whole big lump sum.
Right. So you essentially pay per credit that that you're taking.
Correct.
Okay. And what is that roughly?
The total, go ahead. You want to say? Go ahead.
Yes,
Yeah. So
please.
the total is, I believe, for the 20 months is 17,700 US dollars.
Okay.
And again, on average, you divide it by, so it's just under 1,000 a month on average.
Okay.
Over the 17 months.
All right.
Over the 20 months, sorry.
Over 20 months. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Anna. So we have a question from Alan, which is, how will this master help me improve the HR department and the training platforms? So thank you for this question, Alan. We have quite a few students who are HR managers and who are or just in management positions. And how does this help? So every single lesson, and I mean every lesson, every week, has something that is relevant for a business, for a company, for HR. At the same time, every week has something that is relevant for parenting or for coaching, because you see the ideas that we share are, first of all, general enough that you can apply them to different areas. And it depends, what lenses do you put on? Do you put on your HR lens this week? Or do you put on your parenting lens, or maybe both? And you will find things that are relevant for that domain. For HR, for instance, you increase levels of well-being even by 3 or 4%. We're not talking radical transformations here. 3 to 4% increase in well-being in your organization. You find more creativity, more innovation among the employees. Retention rates go up. In other words, less people will leave the workplace, even if you increase well-being by a little bit. Teamwork will improve a great deal. Employees will be more productive, more engaged in what they're doing. So all these things will happen as a result of increasing levels of well-being. So for HR, increasing well-being, and for any manager for that matter, doing so is important, especially in today's world where there is such high premium on innovation, especially in today's world where distraction is the norm rather than engagement. And especially in this world where we're talking about the great resignation, where so many people are leaving the workplace. So in many ways, well-being is an antidote to a lot of the real issues that we have in organizations. You know, there are more and more companies today that are creating a position for a chief happiness officer, CHO, chief happiness officer. Now, there are still the exception. I mean, there are more and more of them, but there are still the exception rather than the rule. However, just about every company today realizes how important focusing on the well-being of employees is. And these are the exact tools that you will receive in this as part of this program. So I'm going to call on Bettina. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, not very well.
Hi. Now it's okay?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Better. Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Bettina from Brazil. I'm a psychiatrist, medical doctor, and I would like to know if is there something related to health and happiness and health, like neurotransmitters and impact of happiness and health, and vice versa, like impact of health in happiness, something like that.
Yeah.
We will. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you for asking this, Bettina. The answer is absolutely yes. So when we talk about happiness, as I mentioned earlier, we're not just talking about pleasure or just the superficial approach to happiness. We're talking about happiness defined through the SPIRE model. And again, the SPIRE model includes spiritual well-being, physical well-being, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. Now, explicitly, we talk about physical health when we talk about physical well-being. Of course,
yeah, sure.
We talk about the mind-body connection. We talk about how mind affects body and body affects mind, that in fact, they're one system. We also spend a lot of time, especially in the course on facilitating happiness. We spend a lot of time talking about neurons, our brain, neural pathways. Why?
Fantastic.
Why? Because this is what change actually looks like. Bettina, it's one thing when I say, okay, so I want to become a kinder person, let's say. And I remind myself to be kinder to my friends tonight. And that's nice and that's great. But it's very different from becoming a kinder person. Now, we become a kinder person when our neural pathways change, not just when I remind myself now to be kinder. It's when I look at the world differently. I see people and I look at them in a more positive way, in a more appreciative way. And these things take time to change. And what the change looks like is through neural change. Our brain literally changes.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that when we understand how our brain works and how our brain functions, and this is based on research by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck, when we actually understand how our brain works and how our neurons function, we're more likely to enjoy lasting change. So once again, you see a connection between the theoretical, let's understand, the research on neurons, and the practical. Once we understand that, will bring about more change in our lives.
Like getting to know, get us more skilled. We get more skills by getting to know, by the awareness and the conscience about the process. Yes.
Exactly right. Awareness of the process, being conscious of the process, actually makes it more likely, not just to happen, but more likely to have a lasting impact, which is what we're looking for.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bettina. Zainab, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Zainab.
First of all, thank you for giving me time. I have a question about this course. Actually, I'm from Afghanistan. Right now, I'm in Chile. And I was working as a counsel individual in Afghanistan, the center counseling in the as Bamiyan University. Actually, I wanted to know this subject is some a little bit exciting. Sorry, I wanted to know this course is also has some subject about applied psychology with the life skill like this, some issue that can help, some action actually apply, and some action I need that plan. I want to I hope you got it my means, and thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for this question. Zainab, let me be very open and clear about this. I would not be teaching this degree, and by the way, I don't think Arlene would. I don't think Ashley or any of our professors would be teaching this degree if they didn't think it could make, and it does make, a real meaningful difference in people's lives. We would not be here. In other words, we're here because it is applied. We're here because we hear the differences that it's making in our students' lives and in ours. Because when you teach, you also learn. So the degree from the first day is revolves around application. Now, having said that, it also has a very strong theoretical, empirical, research-based foundation. And as we see it, they go hand in hand. Because if you want to bring about lasting change, as I mentioned to Bettina, you have to have the theoretical and empirical and research-based and evidence-based foundation upon which you build. And that's how you combine theory and practice. That's how you combine academia and the outside world. And you bring these two worlds together. And by the way, every one of our faculty members are also practitioners.
Thank you.
They're in the outside world. And, Arlene or Ashley, I don't know if you want to jump in and say something here. Feel free to.
Okay, me?
And no, I'm talking to our.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Arlene, please.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here talking to you. And I saw there was also a question that was asking about the certificate in positive psychology or a master's in positive psychology. I had the privilege of studying the master's in applied positive psychology in the University of Pennsylvania. And I have the immense pleasure of being part of the team with Tal. And I can say that something that is absolutely unique about this program is how the topics have been curated. And we had a student this morning commenting on it. I think the way that the program is structured integrates very well the past, the present, and the future of humanity. It really enables people to dive into your own story and increase your knowledge about yourself, to gain consciousness about your own thinking process, and allows you also to build into new futures for you. It is directed to personal growth, and at the same time it acknowledges our impact as individuals in the world and in the community around us. So it is really a very interesting approach. It integrates, as Tal mentioned, philosophy and psychology and business and economics and personal development. And I would say one of the most important differences that I see in this program is that it's not only academic. It really builds a bridge between your inner wisdom and everything that you learn. So you will get out of this master's program knowing about what you know inside, and you will be able to catalyze that personal knowledge into something bigger that really can have an impact in the world. So I've studied another master's program as well, and I can say that I have never seen a program that is so well integrated, and it takes you on a personal journey while at the same time it really helps you make a difference in the world and understand the world in a deep and very connected way.
Thank you for this. Thank you, Arlene. Ashley, please.
Hi, my name's Ashley. I'm one of the other professors. And I just wanted to kind of jump back to the question earlier that Alan had posed about human resources. I have a master's in human resource management. And so I've gone through an entire program of that sort. And I think this program very well integrates with business and human resource management, or anyone working in that capacity. And also Bettina, who had asked about medical science and neuroplasticity, and it kind of all plays in together, because a lot of times with HR, a lot of what you're trying to do is learning and development. And so learning about neuroplasticity, learning about neurons, and how there's so much emphasis all the time about children learning and how they learn, but really and the program focuses a lot on adult learning and how you can make changes in your life in the different ways that this can be affected. It also really, like as Tal was saying about employee engagement and well-being, that really speaks to what so much of masters in HR management programs are about: creating the competitive advantage within your company by increasing the company culture. So I do think that there's a really nice overlap and overlay between trying to look at this from someone coming from the business community or from HR community and what the program offers. And as Arlene was saying, there's so much personal growth that you get, but there's also so much that you can apply to so many different realms. I find myself all the time just talking to people in all different settings and being like, oh yeah, what we learned in class today or what we discussed in class today is relevant to this. And you constantly find these connections that are really relevant. So I just wanted to add that real quick.
Thank you for that, Ashley. Thank you. So we have a question here, and Dawn, it would be great if you could comment on this. The question is, are there prerequisites to enroll in the master degree, TOEFL bachelor degree? And for those of us that are not in the US, how do we credit our bachelor's degree if this is required?
Yeah, I did answer the chat box, but yes, I'll
Yes.
talk about that. The mission requirements basically is an online application asked of you, which is free through Centenary. We do require, if you're outside the United States, either the TOEFL or we'll actually take
Tienen un
Duolingo.
webinar para hacer un curso en Norteamérica.
Oh,
1 second.
Okay.
Yes, please.
that's okay. So we'll either take the TOEFL testing or the Duolingo is another one we've been accepting. A lot of the students from the first start chose to do that one. I think it was quicker than taking the TOEFL test, so I will accept that as well. So being if you're outside the United States, there is a process that we do have to go through, which is called World Education Services, which is located in New York City. So basically what you have to do is contact your university or college, have them send officials directly to World Education Services. And basically what we're looking for is a course by course evaluation with a letter grade. And at the very end, we would like an overall GPA because there is a GPA requirement for the degree, which is a 2.5 or higher to come into the program. So that's the overview. There are no prerequisites of the program. And someone had asked on there, does it matter what type of degree do you have? I would say no to that. Correct, Tal?
Exactly right.
Okay.
And the reason is because while we do touch on psychology, while a lot of the material has to do with positive psychology, it's also about business and about philosophy and about economics. So if you have a bachelor degree in any field, you're ready to enroll and would love to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Dawn.
You're welcome. There was a question about what to expect in the classroom. I think it's on there. If maybe somebody could talk about that.
Great. So I will respond to that. And you know what? And then I will call on, I see we have a hand up. So what's expected?
Do you see it? It's asking if
can
you're
you talk
live.
about the logistical side of the courses? That is, if the courses are live, recorded, or how it might work. Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the course, it varies. Part of the course is pre-recorded lectures. You can watch them, again, wherever you are, whenever you are. They open up on a Monday morning, and you have till the following week to watch them. So there are online lectures. In addition, you have there is a live webinar, and the live webinar meets once a week, probably a Thursday. Well, it's Thursday for this cohort. For the next cohort, it may be another day. Meets once a week. Now, we strongly encourage you to attend it live. However, if you're in a different time zone, if for you it's the middle of the night, or you're away during that day or that week, you can always watch the recorded version of it. So essentially, again, we encourage you to be live for that 90 minutes a week. But even if you can't do that, you can watch the recorded version of it. In addition, you have live meetings with fellow students, in small groups. You have access to to the faculty if you want to meet during office hours. You have papers that you write. You have readings that you do, of course, in your free time. What has happened and what we have found is happening is that there are students who live in the same location who actually physically get together during the week, and they go over the readings or the discussion. And then they have, beyond just the retreats, the upside of being in a live in-person classroom. So in that respect, it's flexible. You can make it, your own time. We do recommend that you structure it, meaning that every week you watch the lectures, let's say Tuesday evening, because then it's easier to deal with. But basically, it's up to you when and how you do it. There is the flexibility, again, of an online program. I want to call on Hussein. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Hello, doctor. Hello, everyone. Am I clear?
Very clear.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Allow me to first express my admiration of this program, specifically the topic. It's much in need nowadays in different levels, specifically when it comes to human capital management in the business world. Now, my question is, you might have partially answered that it includes a practical aspect besides the theory. What I'd like to ask is from the point of view of knowledge retention and impact and sustainability. If we divide the journey into two levels, one is during the journey, 20 months, and the second is post-journey or after journey. What kind of practices during the journey ensure practicing? Is it a project? Is it based on project delivery? That's one, during the journey. And in terms of post-journey, what kind of tool or methods are used to sustain this knowledge after the 20 months?
Terrific. Great question. So let me begin to answer it through an example.
Sure.
So the final project for a for a number of the courses is a practical project. And I'll give you the specific example of the course that the class is taking right now. So right now they're taking a course, Introduction to Happiness Studies. The final project there is a paper, but it's not your usual paper. It's a paper that is actually a transcript of a lecture. Meaning, for example, let's say Hussein, the topic that you're really interested in is well-being in corporations. Let's say it's a topic you're interested in. You are going to write a lecture, which is, of course, evidence-based. It's academic. You have to refer to studies that we went over throughout the semester or studies that you find yourself. But it's something that you will actually deliver. Now, you will deliver this particular one to a few of your classmates, and don't worry, they're not grading you, so you don't need to worry about that, but they are giving you feedback and feed forward of how you can improve it, how you can make it better, what they really liked about it, where they were moved and touched. And here is an idea for another study that you can implement, and you will get all that feedback from your fellow journeyers. And at the end of the semester, what you submit is the text, the slides that you will use or used for it, of a 15 to 20-minute presentation, sort of like a TED talk.
Right.
Now, why are we doing it? It's what one of my colleagues and friends, Megan McDonough, calls, this is not a final project, rather this is a forever project.
Right.
Because then you'll be able to use it. And, when you talk to your fellow managers, or when you talk to your, audience in the future, you can use that as the talk or the beginning of the talk, because we have found that many people have taken this and built a longer presentation around this or a workshop around this. So rather than just the final project when you submit a paper and never see it again and just feel relief that it's over, the project here is something that hopefully you will use and pay forward or serve forward for the rest of your life. Another example is, in another course, you're actually designing a workshop.
Okay.
I forget in which of the 8 courses that is. In another course, in coaching, you're designing a coaching protocol that you actually, so everything, yes, it's based on research. We're not asking for, just write whatever you feel like writing about success in the workplace. No, use research, make it evidence-based. This is an academic course. It's an academic degree.
Yeah.
And think about how you can make it practical, relevant for whoever your audience is.
Right.
So that's during the 20 months. But again, it's during the 20 months, but you have it and you can use it later, obviously, a forever project. But that's not all. Part of the Happiness Studies Academy is our Business and Alumni Club. And the Business and Alumni Club is 100% initiative of students. And they created it in order to support one another in continuing their work in the field of happiness studies. How? By sharing material with one another. How?
Right.
By being there, Hussein, let's say you come up and you say, I want to really give a presentation on well-being in organizations. Anyone can help. You'll get so much help there. You won't know what to do with it. I promise you. You'll get help
Right.
from others. And then you'll say, I really want to test some material, and you'll have some very willing and happy participants who will listen to you, give you feedback, give you feed forward, and help you make it better. Because as I said earlier, first and foremost, even more important than the academic side and the research and the material, it's a very powerful community of connected and interconnected, like-minded, like-hearted individuals
Right.
who come together and have a common goal: spread
Right.
well-being, happiness.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hussein. So let me take another question. What are the other job outcomes that are opened by doing this master's degree? Very important question. The kind of things that people do when they graduate, and again, here I'm talking about the certificate in happiness studies, and even more so, the master's in happiness studies, are things like chief happiness officer, things like management. My PhD is in organizational behavior, which is a combination of psychology and psychology department and business school. What we talk about when we talk throughout the Masters in Happiness Studies is extremely relevant for the business world. Just today, I mentioned it. We talked about Anita Roddick, the businesswoman, and we have quite a few MBAs on in our class, and some of them were talking about how she is a role model for starting a business. And again, whether your business is in happiness or your business is in manufacturing or banking, the relevance of these ideas for the business world are remarkable. So if you're a manager, you'll become a better manager in all likelihood because you have learned about well-being. When you are, the same applies to coaching. You want to coach, whether it's, life coaching or management coaching or parenting coaching. We have quite a few students whose main interest is in parenting, whether it's helping other parents or being better parents themselves. You'll get a lot of material there. Teachers, we have school teachers in our program who are taking this material and creating a better classroom where students are more engaged, where students are more creative, where students play together better, create better, you enjoy better teamwork. All these are benefits of increasing levels of well-being. So the relevance of a master's in happiness studies is you can derive it regardless of which area you're at. Just about every profession. Just today, I had a long conversation with a medical doctor who's talking about how to bring happiness studies into hospitals. And we were talking about two levels. First of all, interaction of doctor with patient and how it can improve that. In other words, how it can contribute to the healing process. And second, she was talking about how so many doctors today are burnt out. She said that was the case pre-COVID. Now it's even worse. Doctors, nurses, people in the medical profession are burnt out. And how can the field of happiness studies contribute to their resilience, help them better deal with those challenges? Okay, So it is, well, here it's 5 o'clock. It is on the hour. Are there any other questions that people have? If you do, please put your hand up. Or did I miss? I see that there is a hand.
Yes.
Rogerio, can you unmute yourself, please? Oh, yeah, I can see your hand.
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Hi.
Well, first of all, congrats on implementing this master in happiness. The simple sound of this seems exciting to me. So well done, Tal, and all the other professors. So Tal, your opening was especially impressive to me. It's not feasible to speak about happiness without having a sensibility for the idea of the opposite. That said, I was wondering if the master's content will touch at any time the Buddhism legacy and the Buddhist contributions to the understanding of suffering and well-being.
So, Ashley, Arlene, and I are smiling now because today we talked about the Eightfold Path of Buddha. This was today's topic, and we talked about this in conjunction with research on mindfulness and flow, and in conjunction and how it applies to the world of business, and how it applies to what's going on in the world right now as we speak, in terms of the suffering, and how it applies to day-to-day suffering. So the answer is yes, we do delve into Buddhist writing. Now, is it the same depth as a master's degree dedicated to Buddhism? Of course not. But are you getting a deeper understanding than most people have about Buddhism, whether it's today or in future classes within the masters? Absolutely yes. And you're so in so many ways, the degree is about bridge building. It's about bridge building between the theoretical and the practical, as I mentioned, between academia and Main Street, between ancient Buddhism, for example, and modern, the latest research, between art and science, or different disciplines in general. And it is a bridge between different cultures, because we look at, Eastern and Western thought and African thought and Latin American thought, and we bring them all together because we can learn a great deal from different cultures, from different times, from different people, from different disciplines, whether it's neuroscience or literature. We can learn a great deal from the different disciplines and people and times about what it takes to lead a happy life, broadly defined, a resilient life, a healthy life. So, thank you for that question. Dawn, Arlene, or Ashley, anything you would like to add before?
They're asking deadlines for the March 6th. So I'm giving them a date of the end of February. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what I've been telling them.
Yeah.
I think it's February 15th. Isn't that the deadline to apply?
No,
possibly.
Not with me.
No.
I'll go right to the end.
All right. Well, I just looked at some
I'll
things.
go right to the end, girl. Right to the fourth.
All right. Okay. Well, then there you go. You have.
But the transcripts is what takes the longest, because that's what everybody's asking me. How long does West take? See, the problem is you contacting your university or college to have them send it to New York City seems to be the longest part of this journey. Then once West receives it, they do the evaluation, which usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks at most. and then they send it to me. So there's kind of like 3 steps before I actually get them. But that's what someone's saying. Wow, 2 months? That's a long time. It is. But unfortunately, you know, you could speed it up and pay a little bit extra to have it expedited quicker. But the quickest I've seen it done is maybe 7 weeks, 6 weeks tops. Yeah, because that does take the longest. And sometimes people have difficulty even getting their transcripts from their universities because it was from a long time ago. So then they run into that issue too. You know,
Yeah,
there's all different scenarios.
yes. So what I'm hearing, Dawn, is that, you know, if you have, if you need to go through WES,
Mhm.
then, you know, and that's for all non-American applicants.
Correct.
Then it will take a bit longer, and then you know, you need to start now. Or, and I see there's a question about it, you can join the certificate program and then join the next cohort of the master's degree. And just so you know, if you join the certificate program, it's not, you're not paying double. So you're paying for the certificate program, and we deduct this amount from the master's degree.
Correct. We didn't mention that tonight. That's correct.
Yeah. So you know, so you can start the certificate program, which is I think it's $3,900. And then when you apply, or when you get into the master's degree, you pay that amount of the master's degree minus the $3,900. So you don't double pay, because some of the course, there is some overlap between the two programs. So we have one more hand, and then I will let you all go. Bettina.
You're still on mute, Bettina.
Now, okay.
Can hear
We
you.
can hear you.
Yes.
I would like to know, like, I have 2 previous masters, one in psychiatry and one in literature. May this like have this translated here or validated here in translation and sent it? May it help, or it doesn't help anyway to US program?
I'm unsure what she's asking, but yeah, you do have to do the West translation. You
Yeah.
don't need to do both of your masters. You could just choose one.
And the process is the same, even like if I have this master to go into this master, is it does it help, or anyway I have to do the whole process?
Yeah, you have to do the whole process.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay.
But I love the
And
fact.
Dawn, there was, okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
Ashley.
I was going to say, I think there was a similar question earlier on if they had a master's from the US and an undergrad from a non-US institution, does that change things? I think that was sort of like the, or is it still that they have to go through West because it's the undergrad that you need?
Yeah. I will take either or. I actually prefer them to do their masters over the bachelors because it was probably more recent, obviously. But if they have a degree within the US, I would like to look at it first. That's the whole thing. But if their degrees in the US, they do not have to do WES. No.
And any degree, whether it's a BA
Nope.
or a master's. Yeah.
Nope.
Great. Thank you. And
Thank
Bettina, I love the fact that a master's in psychiatry and literature, and very much in the spirit of our interdisciplinary program. So this is it for today. Sorry, we have one last hand, and then we really, the previous one was not really the last one. Yes. Is it Suad? Is that how you pronounce it? Suad.
Yes, exactly. My name is Suad. I'm from Canada, from Montreal, Canada. I did all my studies in Canada, and I have a master's from McGill University, which is an English-speaking university, of course. Should I submit the language test also?
I thought you were going to ask me about the WES process.
Yeah, the WES process, yes.
Yeah. How's your comfort level? This is where I ask individuals. I mean, as far as writing, speaking, comprehending.
Well, I wrote my thesis in English, of course.
Okay, then you would be fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, I have another question about the next intake, just in case I can't make it for this one because I do have a lot of things to do at the moment.
Our fall term would be
Yeah.
the next start. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you, Suad. Thank you, Dawn,
You're very welcome.
for,
Thank
for
you.
everything that
You're
you're doing, for your commitment. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you, Ashley. And thank you all for attending today. I hope you join our journey. And I'll bid you farewell the way I bid farewell each one of the webinars, and that is, remember to take care of yourself and others, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.